You're not too sensitive, you just learn to read the room too well. Opening hook. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt it? The tension, the mood shift, the unspoken thing no one is saying. And somehow, you feel responsible for it. You've been told you're too sensitive, too emotional, too affected by small things. But what if you're not too sensitive? What if you just learned to read the room too well? Problem deep dive. You notice everything. A slight change in someone's voice. A delayed text reply. A micro expression that lasts half a second. You replay conversations in your head. You scan for signs you did something wrong. You adjust yourself before anyone asks. It's exhausting. And eventually, you start believing something must be wrong with you. But this pattern has a psychological shape. In personality research, this often overlaps with high trait sensitivity, sometimes called sensory processing sensitivity. It also connects to high levels of agreeableness, empathic attunement, and in some cases, hypervigilance. Your brain isn't randomly overreacting. It's scanning constantly. In cognitive science, this is called threat detection bias. The brain is wired to predict danger before it happens. And for some people, especially those who grew up in unpredictable environments, the brain becomes exceptionally skilled at reading subtle cues. It learns that safety depends on anticipation. So you don't just walk into a room. You measure it. Reframe. Here's the part no one tells you. This isn't weakness. It's adaptation. Your nervous system did exactly what it was designed to do. The human brain evolved for social survival. Thousands of years ago, being rejected from the group meant death, so the brain built a complex social radar system. For some people, that radar is set to standard sensitivity. For you, it's set to high resolution. You see emotional weather patterns before the storm arrives. The problem is not that you feel too much. The problem is that your nervous system never learned when to turn the radar off. You're not broken. You're finely tuned. But you were never given the manual. Psychological mechanism. Let's slow this down. Inside your brain, there's a structure called the amygdala. Think of it as a smoke detector. Its job is simple: detect potential threats. When you perceive subtle disapproval, tension, or rejection, your amygdala activates. It doesn't wait for proof, it works on prediction. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex, the rational, planning part of your brain, tries to interpret what's happening. But here's the catch. If you've had repeated experiences where small emotional shifts led to real consequences, criticism, withdrawal, anger, your brain builds a shortcut. It says, subtle cue equals danger. This is called associative learning. Your brain wires together small signals and big outcomes. Over time, your nervous system becomes highly efficient at detecting microsignals. A pause in conversation. A tightened jaw. A change in breathing. You're not imagining them. You're detecting them. Mirror neuron systems also play a role. These networks help you simulate other people's emotional states inside your own body. When someone is tense, you feel tension. It's empathy at a neural level. But without boundaries, empathy becomes absorption. You don't just read the room. You become the room. And that's where exhaustion begins. Practical framework. This isn't about shutting down your sensitivity. It's about regulating it. Here are 5 psychological principles to recalibrate your internal radar. Separate detection from responsibility. Your brain detects shifts automatically. That's perception. But responsibility is a story layered on top. Cognitive behavioral therapy calls this personalization bias, assuming you caused what you merely observed. When you sense tension, pause and ask, did I create this? Or did I just notice it? This question recruits the prefrontal cortex. It slows the amygdala. It inserts space between cue and conclusion. Practice nervous system grounding. Hyperattunement is often a sign of a chronically activated sympathetic nervous system. When your body is in fight or flight, it scans more aggressively. Slow breathing, especially longer exhales, activates the vagus nerve, shifting you toward parasympathetic calm. In calm states, the brain interprets ambiguity more neutrally. The room doesn't feel like a battlefield. It feels like a room. You don't need to stop noticing. You need to feel safe while noticing. Update old predictive models. Your brain runs on predictions. Neuroscientists call this predictive processing. The brain constantly guesses what will happen next based on past patterns. If your early experiences taught you that subtle shifts equal danger, your predictions will skew negative. To update this, you need corrective experiences. When you notice tension and do nothing, and nothing bad happens, your brain rewires. This is called prediction error, when reality contradicts expectation. Each time the catastrophe doesn't arrive, your brain adjusts the model. But only if you allow it to. Build emotional boundaries. Empathy without boundaries becomes emotional fusion. Psychologists describe this as low self-other differentiation. You can feel someone's emotion without carrying it. A simple mental model. Imagine emotions as weather passing through a field. You are the field. Weather moves. The field remains. When someone is anxious, you can say internally, "This is their weather, not yours." Redefine sensitivity as data. Sensitivity is information, not a verdict. High sensitivity often correlates with creativity, intuition, and deep relational capacity. Studies on highly sensitive individuals show greater activation in brain regions linked to awareness and empathy. The goal is not dullness. It's discernment. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" ask, "What is this data telling me and what is it not telling me?" Integration. Let's bring this together. Imagine you have an internal radar system. For years, it's been set to maximum sensitivity. It scans constantly, beeping at every shift. The solution is not smashing the radar. It's adjusting the sensitivity dial. Detection. Pause. Regulate. Reevaluate. Release. You are not the alarm. You are the one adjusting the settings. Sensitivity is your instrument. Regulation is your skill. Discernment is your power. Quiet, empowering, close. Maybe you were called dramatic, or fragile, or too much. But maybe you were simply the most perceptive person in the room. The one who sensed what others ignored. The one who learned early that reading the air meant staying safe. That intelligence kept you alive. Now it's time to refine it. You don't have to shrink your sensitivity. You just have to teach your nervous system that the room is not always dangerous. You can walk in, notice the mood, and remain yourself. Calm, grounded, separate, not absorbing, not responsible, just aware. And awareness, when regulated, is strength. You were never too sensitive. You were highly trained. Now you get to choose how you use that skill. And that choice is quiet power.